So you're a parent and you're up to your eyeballs. What are some hobbies that you can do to help relieve some of the stress? I've got the top 10. I've done the work for you, so don't worry. I'm going to give you the top 10 hobbies, according to Google, that will help you de-stress as a parent. So here we go. Number one is a big one, and I would 100% agree with that, and that is gardening. Gardening is the number one option for best hobbies to do as a parent. I agree with this. My other channel is Carnivorous Plants, and I do a lot of gardening, and I will tell you, it relieves a lot of stress, whether when I was working in the mental health field, working with a bunch of teams, or working with my kids. There was nothing better than going outside and seeing plants. Plants don't really show all that much of emotions. I happen to think they do a little bit, but they're easy, they're fun, and it's relaxing. So number one is gardening. Number two is something I agree with. I don't happen to do it, but it is hiking and or walking. It has been proven scientifically that walking reduces not only a ton of stress, but is very good, especially if you're a parent in your 40s. It is very good for your body, even better than that high intensity cardio and some weightlifting. Strength training is actually really good for you in your 40s, but I haven't walked in a long time, unless it's to the refrigerator. But it's definitely something that I've done in the past, and it has worked very well. I've leaned very heavily into gardening. I need to start getting into more of the walking, if you know what I mean. So that is number two from Google, the hobbies for parents to de-stress: walking and hiking. So let's look at the next one. So the next one is photography, and I will tell you, I don't personally do that, and you can tell by my videos that I am not exactly literate when it comes to photo quality and or video quality, but I will tell you that I do have friends, and my mother-in-law does a lot of photography, and they love it. Me personally, I can see that it causes a lot of long hours, especially when you're editing. So for any photographers out there that are parents, let me know in the comments, is this something that really is de-stressing, or does it cause more stress? Obviously you probably wouldn't do it if it causes more stress, but is it relaxing? Now I can see the act of going out in nature, taking the photos, that would be awesome, but the editing part is what I'm interested in. Let me know if that is all that it is cracked up to be. So let's go to the next one. So the next one is another big one in my regimen, and that is reading and or audiobooks. And for all those reading hardcover snobs out there, audiobooks have been proven to be just as effective and trigger the same parts in your brain as reading. I say that because I am one of those hard tangible book snobs, and my wife and I have gone back and forth, but she proved me wrong with the science. It's the same amount. Now, the only thing I don't like about the audiobooks is my wife will use that as a reason to continue to do chores and things like that, which, hey, I know that sounds great, and she's all about efficiency, but this whole point of these hobbies is to get you away from all the stressors of life. If you're releasing stress is cleaning, then I guess it works both ways. But if you're like me and you hate cleaning, then obviously this isn't going to help. But a good book goes a long ways. This next one for me has a double-edged sword to it. I love to cook. However, cooking is very much a part of, clearly, being a parent. And so I can easily see this one not necessarily being at the top of the list. You could prove me wrong, though. Let me know in the comments. Is this something that you have used as a stress reliever, or is it hit too close to home for being something that you have to do on a regular basis just to feed your family? Some people love it. It's what they want to do. It is their passion. Feeding their family is their passion. Some people do it obviously because it's a necessity and we want to keep our loved ones alive, but some people love doing it. I don't necessarily like the act of cooking, but I do love seeing just the gratification on the family's faces, knowing that they're being taken care of. That's the part that I love about cooking, but some people love it. Let me know, is it a detractor or does it add to your mental well-being? The next one is knitting and or sewing. So I don't know many people who do this, but the folks that I have known absolutely swear by it and they love it. It allows you to do a lot of different things while you're knitting and sewing, like watch TV, watch your favorite shows, listen to an audiobook like we talked about. So knitting and sewing is very high. I have very enormous hands. So knitting and sewing is completely out of the question for me. At least that's the excuse I'm going to tell people. I don't see how I would be able to do it. I can't hardly do anything tangible or when it comes to nuances. And I'm going to tell you, forget about even getting my hand in a Pringles can. I can't even, it's just not even going to happen. So anything that requires finesse, not for me. You could probably tell by my build, I'm not exactly a finesse guy. I'm more of just a run in there and do things. But let me know, knitting and or sewing, is that on your list of hobbies that you do to help de-stress in your life as a parent? Number 7 is yoga and or exercise. And I will tell you, yoga works very well. I actually took yoga in college, as a matter of fact, as a prerequisite. But I will tell you that I almost always fell asleep during Shavasana, which was constantly embarrassing, probably to some people, less embarrassing to me because I just don't care what people think, really. But Shavasana was the most fun part of yoga. But yoga is actually way harder than it looks, and it is a lot more de-stressing than it looks. A lot of people I've known that do yoga are just completely content, even if they have multiple kids. So let me know, do you do yoga to de-stress? Now, the other one is exercise, working out, lifting weights. I used to do that religiously. I used to be a personal trainer many, many years ago. And so I do see the value and exercise value in exercising. It helps out a ton for not only your mental health, but also your physical health as well. Something that I need to get on board for. The hardest part with this is just finding the time. The next is puzzles and or board games. The issue with this, the fun, so it's a double-edged sword. The fun thing about board games is that you get to do it with your kids, and that is a blast. The downside is that if you're trying to find a task to maybe separate yourself from the children, just because you need that break, board games might not be it. As long as they're in the house, most of them will want to play. Same thing with puzzles. Puzzles are fantastic. They're a lot of fun. The problem is they take a lot of space. And almost inevitably, especially if you have smaller children, they're going to want to help out with a puzzle, which means you're going to lose pieces, and they're going to be constantly destroying all the pieces. It's just part of it. For me, it's a fun enjoyment, but I can clearly see for those folks like our friends who are really crazy about their puzzles and even will go as far as saving them once they're done, would not find that as a distressor. As anything, would find that as more of a stress. So are puzzles your thing? Number 9 is DIY and crafting. Now, this covers a huge spectrum of topics and a lot of different things. However, there is a lot to do. It could be woodworking. It could be creating. What I used to do is create terrariums. It was a ton of fun, and I did that for a long time when I had fish and turtles. And then I also do it for my carnivorous plants. A lot of fun being able to create something from scratch. It engages different parts of your brain that don't necessarily get to be used all that much as a parent. As a parent, it's all about pragmatism, and a lot of creativity sort of falls by the wayside. And so to be able to do something that taps into that creativity is a huge help and a huge plus. The downside is it requires time, it requires energy, and it requires money. A lot of crafting, especially nowadays, can get kind of expensive. So that is a downside to that. Now, the moment you all have been waiting for, number 10, writing and blogging. And I will tell you that this is huge. Even I will go as far as making videos like this. There's a catharsis involved. There's a cathartic nature. It's relaxing. It's being able to tap into that creative side, be able to get any sort of frustrations that you have, any kind of good stuff, any bad stuff, whatever it is, to get that off of your chest, put it out there, and find like-minded people who also enjoy it. Now, not everybody shares their writing. That's why they have journals, and so that helps a lot too. Coming from the mental health field, I will tell you there is a lot to be gleaned from the idea of getting thoughts out of that esoteric, sort of ethereal world that is in your head and getting them on paper. There's a lot of catharsis, a lot of therapy involved there that helps out tremendously. So whether it is just tapping into creative mind or using it as a way to let out some of that frustration, writing and blogging is a great way to do that. All right, everybody. So that is the top 10 hobbies to help you as a parent de-stress and unwind. According to Google, let me know what you thought, if you enjoyed this content, and if you have any ideas that weren't on that top 10, please let me know in the comments below. Like and share, subscribe, do all those fun things that every creator tells you to do. I hope that you've enjoyed this content and your time with me. I certainly have. I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week, and I'll see you soon.